Hi guys, today I'm going to break down what I call the minimalist cold email framework that for me and then for my clients is generating just a consistent flow of B2B leads without all the unnecessary complexity that you see just all over the internet today. So the state of cold email in 2025, if you're watching this video, you're probably dealing with emails that never get responses, complicated advice that doesn't necessarily translate to results, confusion about what actually is working in 2025, or uncertainty about whether it's your messaging or if it's an offer problem, and then just general information overload from conflicting experts. So the truth about cold email in 2025 is it still very much is effective when done correctly. I would say most advice is overcomplicated. The success comes down to just actually following the fundamentals. Clarity beats complexity, and then just systems outperforms one-off tactics. The biggest problem I see is just overcomplication. Everyone's talking about AI personalization, complex workflows, and technical setups when actually it's the fundamentals that are going to drive you the actual results. So this is a quick highlight. Clarity beats complexity every single time in cold outreach, like all day long. And the businesses seeing the best results aren't using some magic template or secret hack. They're executing just the fundamentals flawlessly. So this is the minimalist framework. We'll go into all in more detail. So the first one is just offer assessment. You need to evaluate what you're selling and how it aligns with your market, because it's pointless to outreaching to people who frankly just couldn't give a shit about what you're selling. You're just always going to have an uphill battle. You're going to be hard pressed to convince someone to buy something when they don't actually need or want it. Message clarity, just being crystal clear about your messaging, and and that's going to resonate immediately. And then response optimization, just maximize conversions from initial interest to meetings. So those are the three components to this minimalist framework. I would say more often than not, most people obsess over the messaging component while completely ignoring the other two. And that's why, it is really so important that you need to assess your offer. You then need to create crystal clear messaging and then optimize your whole response process. I would say more often than not, if you miss any of those three and you're not doing all three of them, that's where your results are going to suffer dramatically. And usually you can pinpoint, where you're going wrong if you're not at least doing all three of them. So the first one is component one, so the offer assessment. So this is the immediate value test. So this will help determine if your offer has inherent appeal or you need to create demand for it. Then you need to figure out if you have a demand capture or a demand creation offer. Demand capture offers fulfill an existing need that prospects are actively looking to solve. Demand creation offers then require you to first convince prospects that they have a problem before presenting your solution. And then problem solution alignment. Your approach needs to match your offer type. So to test which category you fall into, I would say, so the best thing to do is to send 50 emails to prospects just with this simple message as first name. Would having a specific outcome without common obstacles be valuable for company name right now? If you get multiple positive responses, then you have a demand capture offer. If not, you're in demand creation territory, and chances are you're going to need a slightly different approach with what I'm going to lay out today. So the next component is message clarity. So, and I'm back. Okay, so the next message should be basically just following the 20 word maximum rule. So your core message should be expressible in 20 words or less. Anything longer, and you're just going to be dramatically reducing the chance of getting a response. So I say 20 words, but let's call it 2 sentences. But essentially, your message needs to have a single focus, a single value statement that can be understood in 3 seconds or less. If it takes longer than that to grasp what you're offering, chances are it's too complicated. Then you need to then follow the human verification signals. So include conversation elements that signal you're a real person. The problem is this with ChatGPT, Claude, this and that, all out there today. People's grammar's actually got amazing because there's no room for spelling errors anymore. But then I would say more than ever today, it's just people actually aren't writing themselves. They do just come across as a bot. It just lacks personality. And when something lacks personality, it just makes it that much easier just to discard and put in the bin. But things you can do to kind of add this kind of human influence into your messages is just having lowercase text in places. So actually not necessarily capitalizing the first word in the sentence, because then it could just look like you're writing it on the move just off your iPhone or things like that. Occasional punctuation variations, I can never say this word, but parenthetical asides. So I get that word totally wrong, but just like I've done that, just elaborating on something and then putting brackets and then having a bit of commentary within your text, and then just overall grammar imperfections, because ChatGPT isn't going to have any grammar imperfections. That's not how it's been trained. So that, in a weird way, we've kind of got to a world now that actually human error is going to make your emails more believable, and you're going to get a higher response rate. But these verification signals, yeah, as I said, it's going to make your messaging feel more authentic rather than templated. So another thing you could do is apply the 3-second comprehension test. So you could show your message to someone unfamiliar with your business and see if they can explain your offer back to you in 3 seconds. And if they can't, then chances are you then need to go back and simplify this further. So message examples that convert. So discovery approach. So first name, discover company name is facing a specific challenge. We help similar companies solve this with a solution. Would this be worth a conversation? Then we've got the value proposition approach. First name, would eliminating pain point while enhancing desired outcome be valuable to your team or company? Just help competitor achieve this. And then finally, the trigger event. First name, notice company name recently, trigger event. We specialize in helping companies in this exact situation with a specific solution. Quick call to discuss. So if you see here, I think the key takeaway here is just noticing how concise they are. They ultimately create curiosity without just overwhelming the recipient with information. But I think most importantly, their conversation starters, not sales pitches. So it's very unintrusive. People can take it or leave it. They're not going to F and blind you in their reply telling you to get a real job. But it's just a friendly offering a bit of value. Can we help? Is it worth us having a conversation? Then component 3, the response optimization. So rapid response protocol under 15 minutes. So the data shows that every minute beyond 15 minutes after receiving a reply significantly decreases your chance of converting that interest into a meeting. So what I would recommend doing is just having a reply classification system. So you want to be able to quickly categorize your responses as whether it's interested, requesting information, objecting, or out of office. And this will just allow for faster, more appropriate follow-ups. So what you then want to have is a dedicated response management, whether that's you checking emails, having it up in your tab on your monitor as you do other tasks, just frequently throughout the day, or actually assigning someone specifically to monitor and respond to your campaign replies. This is another thing I've actually only recently started doing on my business in the last 6 months, but it's been a complete game changer in booking more meetings. Just having a follow-up sequence prepared. So what you're going to do is, obviously you're sending out semi-templated emails or emails that follow a certain theme, but you can then create responses around some of those buckets. So if you have like someone requesting more information, someone interested, someone objecting, chances are the way you're going to go back to them is going to be in a very similar frame. So what you can do is you can prepare the follow-up sequence in advance for each of those responsive categories, and that's just going to allow you to respond thoughtfully without delay and without just sacrificing 20 minutes to then craft the perfect reply. Then conversion path optimization, just remove any unnecessary steps and friction points that could cause drop-offs. So I would say, for me, when I was starting out, I would bend over backwards to request a meeting, even when I suddenly had to take a call at 10:30 p.m. at night. The reason being is, as soon as you then start going back and forth and, like, oh no, can you do this time? No, I can do this time. You're just massively increasing the chances of that meeting dropping off. So you want to reduce the friction as much as possible, and you want to reduce the back and forth as much as possible in order to book that call for you. So when someone applies to a cold email, they're at peak interest level. So as soon as they move on to other tasks, that interest begins to fade rapidly. So if you can take anything away from that, just bear that in mind. And that's why you just need to get back to them as soon as possible. So implementation plan, test your offer, 50 messages. So determine if a demand capture or demand creation offer. You want to refine to 20 words or less, clarify your core value proposition, establish a 15-minute response window. So set up notifications or checking times, or get someone dedicated to actually do this for you. Start with 100 emails a day, so gradually increasing as messages start to resonate, and then optimize based on response data. Let the real results guide your refinements. Don't just start going and guessing this hasn't worked. You're going to see where you start getting the more responses from particular sequences or messages, and that will help guide you. So remember, the businesses winning at cold email aren't using the most advanced tech or complicated strategies. They're just executing these 3 components flawlessly. So if you focus on these fundamentals, I guarantee you'll start to see results. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video shortly. Bye for now.